Welcome, my plant-empowered woman group. I'm vegan coach Naomi. I'm coming to you live from Sedona, Arizona, not the usual Belize retreat center where I live. I am in Arizona. I'm hiking, and then at the end of the week, I've got a business building trip, an event that I'm going to, so I'm super excited. I spent the whole day hiking. And also thinking about this topic that we are going to be talking about tonight. So if you're on here, let me know you can hear me and see me. Let me know that everything is working with the live stream because I'm at a hotel in the mountains in Sedona, and live streaming can be difficult like that. So let me know that you can hear me and see me. Let me know all of that kind of stuff so that I can see the comments. Give me some hearts and likes so that I can see what's going on. Okay, so tonight's topic is called How to Stop Flip-Flopping. Jennifer, nice to see you here. Thanks for letting me know that you can hear me. Hello, wonderful. Give me some of those hearts and likes so that I can really see that you guys can all see me and hear me. So important. Okay, so tonight's topic is how to stop flip-flopping. And this is a huge topic that I really want to talk to you about. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm vegan coach Naomi. I run this group and I am a vegan lifestyle coach and plant-based weight loss coach and educator. And I specialize in helping women through the transition to a whole food plant-based lifestyle for serious weight loss and measurable health benefits. And flip-flopping is going to stop you in your tracks every single time. It is actually the number one factor that makes things hard for you in this transition. No, it's not that you don't have enough recipes or that you don't know how to make a meal that's plant-based or that you don't know how to cook oil-free. None of those things are really the problem. Your husband is not the problem. What it is flip-flopping. So let's talk about what that is. And then we'll find out if you guys resonate with that. And then we'll find out where you are flip-flopping and how you can stop it. Okay? So what is flip-flopping? Flip-flopping is going back and forth on something, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Changing your mind constantly and not making the commitment to the one thing. Continually changing your direction instead of being focused on what you want, right? Being easily distracted. Another way you might have heard it described is shiny object syndrome. Do any of you have that when it comes to diets? You'll be like, keto, all carbs, carnivore, plant-based, Scarsdale diet, Weight Watchers, this thing, that thing, right? Have you guys heard of that? Are some of you coming straight off the keto binge? Let me know. Let me know if you have flip-flopped. So there's different ways that you can flip-flop. Some of the flip-flopping is happening in your mind. Some of the flip-flopping is happening in your emotions and in your heart. And that causes flip-flopping in your body that just halts your progress, just like boom, halts your progress. So let me know if that has happened to you, if you resonate with that, if you have felt the ambivalence. A great word for this is ambivalence. We're not sure what we really want to do, so we don't stick with it. Okay? So the first one that we're going to talk about is the flip-flopping of the mind. Okay? So this is the one about knowing and believing the medical evidence for this lifestyle is sound and vast and proven. Believing that in your heart that you can reverse and prevent your specific health conditions and that you can lose the weight this way. Knowing that if you commit, you are going to have all the results. Believing all of the success stories, the millions of success stories online. My success stories, if you go on my website and you see all of my success stories, believing that these women have said these things and had these effects for themselves. So if you're not sure that this is for you, if you're still in the beginning learning phases, if you're not well versed in the medical evidence of this lifestyle, which And when I say the medical evidence, I don't mean that you have to be a doctor, but that you have seen all of those documentaries where the plant-based physicians explain the medical evidence for this lifestyle. And there are about 6 of those that are deep and vast and proven. And maybe you've read several of the books pertaining to your health condition written by these plant-based physicians, right? Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Caldwell Esselstyn, or any of the myriad of books that have been written on this, like The Starch Solution. So, for example, if you don't really believe that carbs are the fuel for your body, and you still think that carbs are going to make you fat, well then you're going to have a hard time sticking to it. And anything you see online that says carbs make you fat is going to trigger that fear and trigger the flip-flopping. And so then you're going to have a hard time sticking to whatever the plan is that you made for yourself. It's that simple and that pervasive. So that's flip-flopping in your mind. This includes the fears of carbs, just like I said, because you really still believe carbs are going to make you fat. Or you're still eating animals because protein, and you don't really understand any other way to get it, and that you don't need as much as you think you need. Or oil, because you're not sure if oil is a health food or not. It's so confusing online. All of these things, when you're obese and you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high glucose, digestive issues, all of these things are going to be causing these effects to be worse if you keep flip-flopping. So that's the flip-flopping of the mind. So how can we stop the flip-flopping of the mind? Susan says, my only issue is trying to stay away from fish. So that means that you believe somewhere down there that you need to have fish for some reason, when it's not true. So I recommend watching that part of What the Health where they talk about the fish. That's a good one. That got me off of fish forever. Oh my God. So that's an example. So that's an example of that. You're going to flip-flop, and you will probably have a hard time sticking to this whenever somebody says, let's go to a fish restaurant, or whenever you start feeling like, gee, I really should get those omega-3s from fish, because you just don't know better. So that's going to cause the flip-flopping. So how do we stop the mind flopping from the mind, right? We need to research the approach that you want to take until it becomes clear to you that you don't need fish, you don't need animals, and you don't need oils if you don't want to be obese and have high cholesterol and high blood pressure and digestive disease and cancer and all these other things. So you have to believe that in your heart. So I've told this story a bunch of times. When I was recovering from cancer treatment and I watched Forks Over Knives, and I heard Dr. T. Colin Campbell describing his 35-year research on eating animal proteins. That's his whole research niche. That's what he studies. And he said, simply, we found that eating animal protein turns cancer cells on, and not eating animal protein turns cancer cells off. Boom! It's that simple. That clicked in my head, and I was like, it was that simple from then on. Of course, I went on to research all about it. I read the whole China study. I watched 5 more documentaries. I became a coach and became certified in plant-based nutrition so that I was sure how to teach it to other people. I experimented on myself. I helped hundreds of women this way. So I had the conviction for myself. You have to have that in you. So it has to be clear that it's going to work for you. And that includes fish, of course. Fish is an animal protein, which is high in cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol and you're obese, you definitely don't want to eat fish. So you have to believe it will work for you until there is no plan B in your mind. There's no plan B. You are never going back to the standard American diet again. As long as you have a plan B and you're like, well, maybe I'll try this for 6 weeks and see if I lose 20 pounds. And if it doesn't work, I'll go do something else. If you have that in the back of your mind, you're going to flip-flop. That's it. If you're a beginner here, the first thing you need to do is watch all of the documentaries. if you're still flip-flopping and you haven't watched all 5 or 6 of them, ask me here in the comments for the documentary list and I will send you that list. You need to watch all of them. It's not enough to watch one of them while you're vacuuming and have missed the whole fish part. It's not enough to have watched it 3 years ago and not made any changes and say you watched it. That's not enough of a conviction for you to not be flip-flopping, okay? Does that make sense, everybody? Let me know if this makes sense to you, okay? You've got to have the conviction for yourself or you will be flip-flopping in your mind, okay? So, let's move on. Flip-flopping in your emotions. So this is for all of you emotional eaters. And by the way, you are not alone. You're in a group of 5,000 other women who feel exactly the same way. And I've been where you are, so I know how it feels. Okay, you are not alone, and I'm here to help you. But I'm not here to coddle you and say, oh, baby steps, go ahead and eat fish, and the plants will help a little bit. No, I want you to have the full benefits of this lifestyle. I want you to feel it and know it and spread this message and be the role model that you really want to be in your life. That's what I want. So that's why maybe I sound harsh. All right. Let's talk about emotional eating, flip-flopping in your emotions. So Sandra says it makes perfect sense, like meow. All right, flip-flopping in your emotions. When you are thrashed about in your emotions and you have no coping skills for handling the ups and downs of life, and so you turn to whatever junk food is easiest to get, this will lead to the flip-flopping that is going to happen next. Okay? So it's that simple. Jennifer says, I absolutely love that you are direct and to the point. I do not screw around when it comes to your health. You guys are screwing around, not me. I'm going to tell it just like it is, and I want you guys to take action. Okay, so the flip-flopping in your emotions, it comes from a lack of effective self-care. Okay? So learning how to feel better in ways that actually solve the problem and are healing to your mind and your body and your soul through activities a human being needs to regulate their emotions is how you can stop that emotional flip-flopping. Besides, it's a muscle that you need to practice and you need to relearn it because for 40 years, you've been relying on potato chips to solve your broken heart or your sadness or your loneliness or any of these things. So we need to have positive outlets and inlets other than food, bashing ourselves with negative self-talk, TV watching, shopping, scrolling, and drinking alcohol. Why? Because none of these things solve whatever the real heart-tugging emotional problem is. None of these things heal, and over time they harm you. Over the time and again that you've done them, you become conditioned to reach for food every time you're bored, every time you're lonely, every time you're sad, every time anything. So for stress, for example, we need to have ways to calm ourselves down and stay in the present moment that actually heal us, right? For boredom, we need to have the motivation to become involved and interested in things that spark joy of some kind. We need to practice and find ways to have connection and the motivation to reach out when we're lonely and when we're tired. We need to be aware that simply we're tired and we need to go to bed, or we need to know other ways to rest ourselves that are restful, that are other than sleeping, such as taking a bath, something like that. There's so much more to life than just eating. And so these real self-care activities will allow us to regulate our emotions so that we are not thrashed about by emotions with only one way to soothe ourselves and choosing one that's harming you. Self-care is what heals you. So when I work with women in my 12-week Plant Power Woman program, We work extensively on, knowing the medical evidence from number one, the mind flip-flopping. That's the first thing we do is we set barometers for why are we eating this way? What are we eating? Why is the oil harmful? How to handle the fats, right? What level of fat are we having and how are we going to handle it and why? So boom, 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 boom. We have the conviction. We know exactly what we're doing. And then when it comes to self-care, we think about what are the obstacles. We work on them. And if the obstacles are any of this emotional eating, we figure out self-care activities. We make lists. We brainstorm. We are then accountable to trying it. We work on self-care constantly. We talk about these issues constantly. In fact, there is a woman in my group right now whose name is Patty, and she texted me this morning. And by the way, when you guys message me your wins and things like that, it just makes my day. Okay? So she messaged me this morning that she had a situation at work the other day where she something happened in her life and she was very sad and hurt. And so she said to herself, I'm going to go to the cafeteria and get something to eat. And she told her coworker, and it was like 10:30 or something. I might not be sure of all the particulars of this text message, but here's the gist of the story. She told her coworker, I'm going to get something to eat, like that fast, right? And the coworker said, oh, it's not even lunchtime. I just finished my lunch. And that stopped her. Like, that was just an off-the-cuff comment about what time it was. And that stopped my client, Patty, who said to herself, hold on a second. What am I doing? Am I even hungry? No, I'm not hungry. I'm hurt. And this is the first time that she had ever, stopped herself dead in her tracks from running to the food that she was so used to running to. And by the way, she's been in my program. I think this is her third week, already 10 pounds. And she is so stoked about knowing that she has a plan and knowing there's a place to talk about these things and knowing that self-care is coming next, and she's feeling better and better and better. And not only that, she was able to make a fist and use her hands, and her arthritis is already getting better. So this is what I'm talking about. Not many of you can do these things on your own. Not everybody can, and it's so helpful to have a group where someone like me is going to guide you so you do it the right way. And not only that, you find the healing in talking about these things with other women and the motivation and inspiration of watching them do it right next to you. It's that cool. So let's talk about what the flip-flopping of the mind and the flip-flopping of the heart and your emotions, how it causes the flip-flopping that happens in your body. Okay? Let's talk about that. So when you flip-flop in your behavior, whether it's due to your emotions or your mind, the flip-flopping then happens in your digestive system in your body. So picture what's going on down there. Your digestive tract has no idea what you're putting in today. It's like, oh my God, what's it going to be? Is it meat and junk? Is it going to be ice cream? Is it going to be broccoli and beans and rice? What the heck is it going to be? Your system does not know. So, of course, it doesn't have the right bacteria for the right type of foods when you flip-flop. And this could be flip-flopping from day to day, from week to week, or let's say you eat whole food plant-based all week long, and then you definitely every Friday and Saturday eat out. The flip-flopping time differential doesn't matter. It's the fact that it keeps happening. It could even happen every 3 months. Still, this is going to happen. So it's not going to have the right bacteria for those type of foods, right? The beneficial bacteria is supplied by all the plant foods. And that in turn populates your digestive tract with more good bacteria for digesting plants and getting the nutrition from the plant-based diet into your bloodstream the most efficiently and beautiful way that there is. So when you eat animals and junk foods, your body does not have the right bacteria to break it down. So the food this is the gross part, cover your ears, but listen, it sits and ferments and it rots in your digestive tract because you're not a lion. You have a long digestive tract, so that stuff is rotting in there. And all of the junk and the toxic food industry chemicals and carcinogenic animal proteins produce all sorts of new toxic metabolic compounds as your body tries to break it all down. Are you getting grossed out yet? Are you getting scared about these toxic metabolic compounds? Because you should be. Then all the fat from all the junk food gets caught up in your gallbladder and your liver, and everybody's wondering, why do I have non-alcoholic fatty liver? Well, this is why. So all the fats get caught up in your gallbladder and your liver and your arteries, and everything in your body is like a toxic sludge. It can't move. When you eat plants, so then you flip-flop back and you eat plants again, and your body then has to adjust, push out all that toxic sludge, repopulate the plant bacteria in your digestive tract. And so what's going to happen? You're going to have headaches, diarrhea. You're going to be like an alcoholic with the DTs from detoxing. It's food addiction. That's what it is. This flip-flopping is so hard on your body. If you do it day to day and even week to week, you're never going to feel good. Your blood chemistry is not going to improve, and it might even get worse. You'll go back to the doctor and your cholesterol will be high, and you'll say, worst of all, you'll say to yourself, this doesn't work for me, right? And we don't want that. We don't want you to say, this doesn't work for me. We want this to work for you. So we want to stop the flip-flopping. So tell me in the comments, you guys, tell me if flip-flopping is happening to you, and where does it happen? Sherry says, I just don't know what to do with cravings. I have cravings for crunchy and sweet. I've been eating whole food plant-based for 3 months. So think about your cravings. Think about what else you could eat when you have cravings. Search for things. This is an example of one of your obstacles. So you would come to our group meeting with that obstacle, and we would brainstorm, what can you do when the craving hits? And then you'll have a plan for what to do at 7 p.m. when the craving hits, or 3 p.m. or whatever it is for you. And then you're going to try it. And you're going to see if it works. And it might work, might not work. And that's okay, because then you're going to come to the meeting and you say, you know what, I still wanted the crunchy thing and this didn't really work. Well, then we're going to try something else, because we don't just give up, right? We don't just give up and say, this doesn't work for me or whatever. We make a plan and we're accountable. And that's what a group program does for you. That's what a coach does for you. So make yourself a plan, Sherry. Let's see what else. Who has an experience with flip-flopping? Sandra says cucumbers and hummus. Yes, crunchy, saucy, spicy, garlicky, lemony, whatever you like. Very good idea. So Sandra also said, yeah, definitely. So everything becomes easier when the why is concrete. So you are no longer flip-flopping in these ways. When that happens, the how becomes easy. It's easy to make yourself a menu. It's easy to learn to read labels. It's easy to brainstorm ideas. It's easy to look up recipes. There's thousands of millions of plant-based oil-free recipes. All of these things are easy. Sometimes you just need help to focus yourself on the right things at the right time and have some help with that accountability. That's what a coach does. That's what a group is for. That's what I'm here for. I'm here on these free live streams. I'm here to give you free resources when I have something that I think will push you in the right direction. But if you want that inside track, if you want the coaching and you want the results, please reach out to me in the comments. Type in no more flip-flopping and I will know to reach out to you, okay? So that's it for tonight's live stream. Gail says, I travel a lot and wonder, how do I eat oil-free when eating out? So that's a perfect example of an obstacle that you have. This is something that I work personally on with my clients. And we have an entire lesson on eating out and how to handle it. Right? You have to learn skills. You have to practice skills. It's not something I could just answer on a live stream. Kathy says, I have been flip-flopping and then I feel bad afterwards. That's another problem with the flip-flopping that I did not even address. So true, Kathy. We have that guilt and we have that shame. And so flip-flopping is just not helpful. And in that situation, we need to practice that self-care. I really need to commit fully. Yes, committing fully is going to have you feeling so much better all around. I'm so glad you said that. So glad you brought that up. It's so, so true. Yeah. So that's it for tonight's live stream. I hope that you learned something. Reach out to me if you need me, if you want the extra help. It might not be cheap, but remember, it lasts a lifetime and you are definitely worth it. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.